Oh, Mr. Sears, you're not yet on my list. So I'm going to need your P number real quick. So this is in the matter of the people of the state of Michigan versus Shane Leroy Raymer. Leroy or Leroy?
Leroy.
Yep. Okay. I like Leroy. File number 23-21665FH. I have Brenda Underwood, P41009, appearing on behalf of the defendant, and I have Dan Gumtoe, but state your full name and your P number, please.
Your Honor, Nicholas Sears on behalf of people. Nicholas Andrew Sears. I am appearing under Michigan Court Rule 8.120, I believe, which is the observation of waiting for my bar results.
Okay, very good. All right, you had your hand up?
Yes, I fired her due to misrepresentation.
When did you fire her?
Over 2 weeks ago.
Was that in front of me?
No, that was in her office but the reason I fired her.
Well, do you have another attorney?
I will represent myself.
You're gonna represent yourself.
Yes.
You know, there's a very famous quote about representing yourself. Do you understand that?
Yes.
That, do you have a law degree?
All right, guys, get ready. This courtroom scene kicks off fast. Shane Raymer is facing big charges, but before anything starts, he shocks everyone by firing his lawyer, saying he was misrepresented and the system is corrupt. The judge asks if he has a law degree, college degree, or even a high school diploma. He says he doesn't need one. The tension rises. His confidence is out of control, and everyone in the courtroom feels it. Things are already off track. Shane's challenging the system from the start. He's not following the rules, he's trying to break them. Everyone watches as he takes a risky path, and it's clear this won't be a normal trial. This isn't about justice anymore. It's about Shane's pride, and he's ready to burn everything down to prove his point.
Do you have a college degree?
I don't need a law degree.
Did you graduate from high school?
I don't need that either.
You don't need that to represent yourself? Okay. Do you have access to? Okay. So
I have evidence that shows that the description did not match. And
well, I'm not going to get into that yet. So you're asking me today to remove Miss Underwood as your attorney,
yes,
and you want to represent yourself.
If I
Do you understand that even when I have court cases, I hire an attorney to represent me?
Well, I can't trust anybody in this system in this area because they all seem to be working together. This case should have been resolved a long time ago during the appeal the first time. She should have objected when the claim was made that I matched that description 100%.
Okay, so Mr. Raymer, part of what you're saying shows to me that you don't quite understand how the court procedures work, okay? So your attorney has an obligation to ethically represent you. And so before I would have clients come to me and say, I want you to file this and I want you to file that. And I would say, there's no basis for that. And I don't file frivolous motions, or I would say to them, they have probable cause or whatever. So if you want to represent yourself, you can do that at your own risk. You have the right to represent yourself. But what I will tell you is that Miss Underwood is the bane of most prosecutors' existence because she's a little pit bull and she doesn't put up with a lot of guff from them, and she's a tough defense attorney. So you may not like what she says, but I feel like she's always honest. So that being said,
now the judge steps in, calm but strict. She tries to explain how court works, but Shane refuses to listen. He thinks the whole legal system is against him and insists on defending himself because he doesn't trust anyone. The judge warns him. His lawyer is tough, smart, and respected, but Shane won't change his mind. Then comes the shock. Shane thought today was his trial, but he actually missed his pre-trial. Because of that, the judge cancels the jury trial and puts out a warrant for his arrest. His defense is falling apart, and the pressure is rising, fast. What started as boldness is now a big mistake. Shane didn't get tricked by the system, he just didn't show up. Now he's fighting a battle he doesn't understand, and the judge is in control. He's running out of time, and everything is going wrong.
Want to proceed and represent yourself, you can. But you understand you're going to have to file written motions. You're going to have to follow the court rules.
This is the trial, right?
No, it's a
Why is-
pretrial.
How is this not the trial? I was told this is gonna be the trial.
This
I'm
is a,
supposed to be I'm supposed to be sitting here with a jury today.
no, you're not.
Yes,
You're,
Your Honor.
Mr. Raymer, I schedule jury trials and I haven't scheduled you a jury trial.
I was.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're the one that didn't show for the pretrial. That's why. Is that why?
Your Honor, if I could speak
Yes.
for a second, I think the first thing we need to do.
I'm
is
sorry.
address the bench warrant.
Yes. So, Mr. Raymer, you failed, yeah, he failed to appear for the pretrial conference.
That's correct.
All right.
I-
So everybody stop talking for a minute. So, Ms. Underwood, thank you for reminding me of that. Mr. Raymer, you had a final pretrial conference on December 11th, and we gave you a notice of hearing, and you failed to appear for that pretrial. And because you failed to appear for that pretrial, I canceled the jury trial because it cost me a lot of money to have a jury here. And so if you're not here for the final pretrial, I'm not going to trial until I get you here. So I actually issued a bench warrant for your arrest for failure to appear for the pretrial. Do you understand that? So Ms. Underwood's now asking for me to set aside that bench warrant. Is that what you said?
Thank you, Your Honor. He did demonstrate to the court that he can show up by showing up this morning.
Okay. So Mr. Raymer, so Ms. Underwood's asking me for me to set aside the bench warrant for your failure to appear on December 11th. Do you understand that? Speak.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And Mr. Sears, any objection to me setting aside the bench warrant since he has appeared today?
No, Your Honor.
All right. So Mr. Raymer, I will quash that bench warrant. And I'm sorry, I didn't look back to see that this was the original trial date. So that's my procedure. If people don't show up for a pretrial, I set the jury trial as the pretrial. Okay? Do you understand that? So that's why
Yes or
there's
no,
no jury.
Yes or no?
I did answer that.
So we're recording, so we have to hear you. So you have to speak up really loud, okay?
I said yes, ma'am.
Louder.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Mr. Raymer,
Here comes the sting. The judge lays it out plain. Shane failed to show up for his mandatory pre-trial hearing, costing the court both time and money. That's why his jury trial never happened. Now, he's getting a front row lesson in how the system works. Still, the judge gives him a break, quashing the bench warrant since Shane showed up today. But then, a dose of harsh reality. If Shane truly fires his attorney, he won't get another public defender. It's either represent himself or pay for a lawyer. Shane doubles down. He's ready to go solo. The courtroom mood shifts from frustration to disbelief. This isn't bravery, it's slow-motion self-destruction. One stubborn decision at a time, Shane is cutting every lifeline, convinced he's taking control. But, in truth, he's driving straight into a legal storm. Alone, you can feel it. The crash is coming. And Shane, he's hitting the gas, full speed into the fire.
so Ms. Underwood and Mr. Sears, this is a date and time set for pretrial. Mr. Raymer, I have your attorneys did file all the paperwork. Ms. Underwood, do you want to speak to Mr. Raymer for a moment?
Your Honor, I'm not sure that would do any good.
Okay. So,
If Mr. Raymer would like to speak to me, I'm more than happy to speak to Mr. Raymer at this point.
So I'm going to quash the bench warrant. Mr. Raymer, if you want to sit down and talk with Ms. Underwood and see if you can meet a common ground, I would highly recommend that. You know, if you want to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes and talk to her, you can do that.
She's not been representing me appropriately.
All right. So do you understand you don't get another public defender?
Well, I fired her and I talked to this man. Are you Mr. Glacier?
No, that's Mr. Glazer.
Who was it that was in the office with us?
That was
That
me.
was Mr. Malero.
Okay, Mr. Malero and her, why was he in the office when?
'Cause he's-
in the,
All right. So, Mr. Raymer, if you are firing Miss Underwood, or I can grant that, but I don't have the ability to appoint another public defender to represent you.
No,
They are a separate entity.
If I can't get somebody to represent me that's doing the job appropriately, then I will represent myself. because I can prove that I was not that person that they're claiming.
That's what a jury trial's for.
Yeah, and when it comes to the jury trial, then I will take care of it there. But I don't need somebody that's not gonna represent me appropriately.
Okay, well, I really doubt that she isn't appropriately representing you, but, so Mr. Glazier and Mr. Malaro, he's asking to fire Miss Underwood, so,
If I may, Your Honor.
yes?
Your Honor, I vetted Mr. Raymer's claims about Ms. Underwood's representation. My understanding, she conducted a preliminary examination. She also filed a motion to dismiss, I believe, that was heard and ruled on by this court. I've not determined that she's done anything that did not require.
Now it gets real. The judge asks Shane, again, if he really wants to do this, represent himself. And again, he insists. He believes he can prove his innocence on his own. The public defender's office responds. They've reviewed everything. Motions filed, exams completed, nothing was mishandled. The truth? Shane just doesn't like what he's hearing. The judge lays it bare. His attorney fought hard, but Shane refuses to see it. So, the court relieves her of duty. Now Shane is officially on his own. No legal experience, no backup. And yet, he'll need to file motions, prep jury questions, and defend himself in court. The train wreck has started. The room is tense. People are stunned. Shane thinks he's making a bold statement. But what he's really done, he's thrown away his best chance at justice. The safety net is gone, and the free fall begins. This is what happens when pride takes the wheel.
That was not required of her. And so I denied Mr. Raymer's request to appoint a new attorney. For one of the reasons was that a trial date was imminent and it would be almost impossible for any attorney to get up to speed. Ms. Underwood is clearly ready to go to trial in this case. I think, as the court, I think, is aware, Mr. Raymer just doesn't like what he hears. So that is the reason I denied his request to have another attorney appointed in this manner, because Ms. Underwood's doing everything she can do on his behalf.
So, Mr. Raymer, I guess I would ask, she held a preliminary exam, which is what you do to dispute the charges, and the judge ruled, whoever heard this, that there was probable cause and bound you over, right? Yes?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then she filed a motion to dismiss, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I denied that.
Yeah, because you was.
What else is she supposed to do?
You was given false information. All she had to do is object and let it be known that I did not match the description of the person.
That's for a jury to decide.
No, that's for the.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you were trying to explain the law to me. So if you do not want her as your attorney, I will remove her
Yes,
as your
I do not
attorney.
want her as my attorney.
All right, so Ms. Underwood, you are relieved of your duties. So Mr. Raymer, you can either hire an attorney or proceed as you are. So I will get another jury trial date. Mr. Raymer, you will need to file with the court jury instructions and voir dire questions. And those are going to need to be filed by a certain date.
And how do I go about doing that?
I can't tell you because I can't give legal advice. That's why you had an attorney. So you're going to have to figure that out on your own.
Okay, well.
I can't give you legal advice as a judge.
That's all right.
That's what Miss Underwood was for.
But she wasn't doing her job.
She did do her job.
No, she
But
failed.
I'm not going to argue with Mr. Raymer. So Miss Adams, I'm looking for a trial date.
Deadlines, legal filings, court procedures. Shane's now facing the cold, sharp edge of what it means to represent himself. The judge lays it out. Jury instructions, motions, evidence lists, all due on strict timelines. And no, she can't help him. He asks how he's supposed to do it. Her answer: I can't give legal advice. Meanwhile, there's a plea deal on the table. 2 misdemeanors instead of multiple felonies, including assault on a police officer. But Shane ignores it. He's locked in, focused not on freedom, but on proving the system wrong. Problem is, he's walking into a legal maze with no plan, no training, and no lifeline. This isn't self-defense. It's a gamble, with prison time on the line. The judge handed him a way out. He threw it back. Now every missed deadline, every misstep, is a step closer to a cell. The clock's ticking, and Shane, he's chasing shadows, because the law doesn't stop for anyone. It moves forward, with or without him.
And so those must be filed with, you must provide a copy to the prosecutor's office of your voir dire questions and jury instructions, and a copy to the court on the third floor of the clerk's office.
And that can be wrote down on a blank piece of paper?
No, they must be provided in full and filled out.
Okay, where would I go to get those forms?
You can do research on the computer.
All right,
I mean,
that's fine.
this is why, Mr. Raymer, when you're dealing with a felony and you're facing trial,
Yeah.
it's important to have an attorney. And it
Yeah,
doesn't sound,
one that's doing their job, yes, I understand that.
well, you haven't presented anything to me that says she hasn't done what she's supposed to do so far. So, Mr. Raymer, there's no legal services available for indigent defendants other than the public defender's office. And, you could hire an attorney, but these things are required. If you don't file them, then you don't get to add them the day of trial. Do you understand that?
What is that, the evidence? I don't get to add any evidence during the day of trial?
Well, you must submit it as exhibits and witness lists. Have you got to exchange those with the?
All the body cam would be considered already submitted, correct?
So you have to provide witness lists and a list of exhibits to the prosecutor's office, to my office, and then you must provide copies of that to them.
And where do I find your office at?
Third floor clerk's office.
Okay.
Okay, but then you have to provide a copy to the prosecutor too.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
probably head over there for you.
But by law, Mr. Raymer, I can't give legal advice because I'm a judge.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. So, Ms. Adams, could I please get a copy of this from Mr. Raymer? And I'm gonna put little asterisks. Do you want Mr. Raymer's file? Are you sure you do not want to proceed with counsel?
I would prefer to have counsel, but I don't want her representing me.
Okay, well, that's your choice, but your other option is to hire someone. Thank you. All right,
The final warnings come, and they hit hard. Trial is set for April 22nd. The judge outlines every requirement: form submissions, exhibit lists, discovery exchanges. Everything must be done by the book. And again, she reminds him, no lawyer, no guidance. Shane admits he wants representation, but he's already fired his attorney. And now, it's too late. This is the path he chose. If you miss a deadline, the judge repeats, you lose your rights at trial. This isn't just risk, it's collapse. A man so determined to fight the system, he's trapped himself inside it. What he sees as bold resistance is spiraling into disaster. The courtroom isn't witnessing a battle for justice. It's witnessing a slow, painful self-destruction. Shane set the trap. Now he's got to walk into it. This isn't just law, it's a life unraveling. One missed deadline, one stubborn choice, 1 second at a time.